4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good. Oh, then there was two. Honestly, he's nipped off for a wank again, hasn't he? There he is. There he is.
Sorry, Chris, my screen froze.
That's all right, sir. I've used that excuse many a time when my wife's walked in on me. How the devil are you both? Climo, it's been ages since I've seen you.
Yes, it has, yes. Unlike some part-timers.
I know. I missed you yesterday because you didn't have a show on. And well, Reese, he was just out shagging, wasn't he? You know. But,
no.
You don't want to know what we were talking about before we came in tonight. But it was a lot more enjoyable and funny than what we're about to discuss, which is Leicester City. And it's the preview show. Ronald is in. Hello, Ronald. Michael is in. Hi, Michael. And Craig has joined us as well. And as we're talking, there is a match that affects us at the bottom. It's Blackburn Rovers hosting Preston North End. I do remember that stadium because I used to work there. And it's currently 0-0, but Preston have hit the bar. So, come on, Preston, let's say. We could do with a win. Look, and first of all, I'm going to ask you both, before we get onto the match, and it would be remiss of me if I didn't ask you this. We're appealing. Well, I am. I can't say the same for you two. But we're appealing against these 6 points. Apparently, but Leicester City haven't let us know, Clibbo. It's just bloody stupid, isn't it? The Premier League told Leicester fans that Leicester were appealing it. Should we have just accepted it, or is it a case of, well, you know, the Premier League are appealing anyway, so really it's left us no choice?
I think if you look at it as a thing, like if you just ask somebody, I think if you're just asking me straight off the bat, I don't think we should appeal it. But there could be extenuating circumstances. One, we haven't heard from the club, so strictly speaking, it's not happening, I would have thought. And two, you don't know whether they're just reacting to what the Premier League are doing to try and put spanners in their works, because they are after us, let's face it. So I'm not saying I would appeal it, but on the face of things, it doesn't look so cut and dry.
I mean, what were your thoughts, Reese?
I agree with Uncle Clibbo. I will add to that, because obviously, let's just hindsight. We get in the playoffs, even with a points deduction. We sneak into the playoffs and we get promoted. And we go up, and the Premier League are going to be on our arse the moment we enter that league. So I don't know. I don't know if this was my overthinking brain, but maybe we've appealed it. So because they know they want to do us again. So maybe they want to get all the points deducted in one go, maybe, and then cut it dry. I don't know. But that's my sort of theory on it, to be honest with you. But But to be honest with you, I think it's either that or their egotistical minds have not, just can't accept the fact that they broke the rules. So I don't know. Just a little theory of mine. Just thought I'd put it out there.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm on LCFC.com at the moment, and there is still nothing up there on the news page about us appealing. That kind of sums the news up. They're more interested in saying there's 30% off all the kits this season, rather than letting us know. Which I think is absolutely disgusting of the club, to be honest with you. Look, we know that the Premier League Clibo wanted 20 points. That's what they were asking for. They're a bit pissed off because we only got 6. And I've noticed that the EFL's not been quoted on this. It's all the Premier League. But I know they're acting together. But it's all because apparently the accounts weren't put in on time, and that has annoyed the Premier League. But I'm sure the tribunal said that they'd taken into account the fact that we were making efforts to get back online, as in, look at all the players we've sold, look at all the big wage earners we've got out, look what has come in, it's loan players and free signings. So that's the way that I understood it.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit like too little, too late from the Premier League's standpoint. I think something that Tom was saying the other day on one of your afternoon shows is that there has to be people need to be treated equally in this situation. And although I sound like sour grapes, I'm not. I do believe that we broke the rules, and you have to take your punishment. But
yeah, I
do believe that certain teams would get away with a lot more than we have, let's just say.
Yeah, that will carry on and carry on. Chelsea got a fine, but they did go forward and go, look, guys, we've just found all this. It's not us, it was Abramovich, but they did take it to them. Again, I'm just worried it's just kicking the can down the road. We may get another points deduction next season when this season spending is taken into account. That's the rumours. But I just want a season where we're starting the season with this not hanging over our heads. And if we appeal for this, we know the Premier League and the EFL are going to come after us, even if somehow we manage to get out of it.
Well, yeah, Susan Whelan said that this would affect the club for a long, long time. So, we could have multiple points deductions in multiple seasons and stuff. So, no, look, the club have got themselves in this position. They've got to take it on the chin and just get on with it now. You broke the rules. It is kicking the can down the road. Like, just move on. For goodness sake, we've got 6. We got away with it. You know, so, and because if we do get any more, that is relegation confirmed for me. So you've got a fight on your hands, and you get relegated to League One with all these points deducted. It's not the end of the club, but you're going to go bankrupt, aren't you? So just get on with it, please, for goodness sake.
There comes a point, the way I look at it, Clive, there comes a point where, look at Sheffield Wednesday. They had 12 points deducted. That was them as good as down, but it gave them a fighting chance. It gave the fans something to hold on to. This 6 points, and since this has been, been given to us, the other teams around us seem to have sort of said, oh, bloody hell, come on, guys, we can get out of this now. They've got 6 points deducted. So it has given them that bit of a boost. But, with Sheffield Wednesday, they then went back and docked them another, was it 7 points or something, I think, which was what was the point, because the owner had gone, they'd got the owner gone. All it's hurting is the fans. And, as Reece said there, 6 points, we've got a chance of still getting out of it. We're not going to win anything. We're not going to get anywhere, but we might just get out of it. If they come along now and go, well, all right, we were a bit lenient on you. Here's another 6 points or whatever. We're dead and buried, aren't we?
We are, and largely, I would agree with you. But I think, and this is me just trying to give something, some positivity to what the club, in terms of its management, are doing. I think it's a reaction. I genuinely think it's a reaction to something the Premier League, that obviously our boys, our legal team have heard, and they're reacting to it. Because we've not really, when the 6 points came out, we didn't hear any rumblings or anything like that about, oh, we're going to appeal. You know, that process is there if we want it legally. But I think it's a reaction, and I think it's been leaked, to be honest with you, because I think that's why the club have not come out and said anything. They probably wanted to keep everything under wraps so as not to, you know, sensationalize it. But I am leaning more towards they're doing it as a reaction, because let's face it, if they want to punish us more and they keep pushing it, that's where the can is getting kicked down the road. If we've accepted it and then they're saying, well, we're not having this, maybe Leicester have said, well, we'll stick an appeal in then. So maybe we're not giving the club credit where we probably should, if that's the case. Just to flip it.
Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying. Right, let's get on to the game that's coming up, and I want to go through the points that came up at the press conference. He was asked, Clibbo, why Leicester, and his answer was, "I know what a great club it is. It felt like a great opportunity to turn things around. The remit is clear with 14 games to go. I've got fresh eyes, also experience. It felt like a good opportunity." Now, look, you know, a lot of these things, when they say them, you know, there's almost a book, isn't there, that they've got that they can read these answers out of. Do you think he's the right man for the job? Seeing as you were down the pub when we discussed this.
Oh, Reese. Yeah, go on, Reese.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Clibbo there. For me, yes. Right here, right now, I do think he's the right man for the job. I love the way he spoke. It didn't look PR driven. Very confident in his answers. Seemed very confident in his ability to make the changes needed. I have some little inside info that my source is saying that this is the most talented players he's ever worked with. So, and he has been working on a lot of defensive structure this week. So, I do feel the goals are there. We've seen the goals are there.
Yeah.
You know, we can score goals, but it's just that getting that defensive base, get the base right, and then we'll work from there. Because you know you build from the back, sort of thing. So. No, I like him. I like his attitude, and I really hope he does well. I really, really hope he does well. I've heard he's been working on really hard in training. A lot of the players were dripping with sweat when they were coming off the training field, from what I'm hearing, just inside info. So he is working them hard, from what I'm hearing. So let's just hope we can carry that into tomorrow and have a little bit of a bounce and just show what we can do, because we have got some talented players in that squad.
We have, and I can see what he's saying about it's probably most talented squad. I'll stick with you, Reese, and then I'll come to you, Clibbo, for the next question that was raised. But I said this to Clibbo before, you know, you've any manager that comes in, well, not any, but 70% of the managers that come into a club, it's because the previous manager's been sacked. You know, one or two leave or whatever, or retire. But yeah, most of them it's because somebody's been sacked. And that's because the team's losing. And why they're losing? Because they're not winning games, so they're conceding goals. So any new manager coming in, that has to be his strategy, is to stop the goals going in. If you're conceding goals, you're not going to win games. Now, or generally speaking, he's a defender. His assistant manager, Callum Davison, he's a defender. You just said then, you know, that's what they're working on. Thank for that. And we're going to come along to your guys' choices later. And there's a couple of, you know, there's two interesting teams you both come up with there. But it does look like he has come in and straight away said, this is my priority.
Yeah, it's been a problem for at least 2 seasons now. You know, it was a problem last season. We thought Marty would make the changes, and obviously he didn't, and we actually got worse defensively. So you know, it's a no-brainer. He knows what he needs to do. He's an experienced manager. He knows what he's up against. He will get a nice little bonus as well from Warbird as well if he keeps us up. So obviously that'll be on his mind. Well, yeah, exactly. And to be honest with you, if he keeps us up, I would give him the job for another season. I really would. Keep building, and then the next manager can come in, and then we can push on, hopefully. So yeah, I completely agree, Chris. It would not surprise me if we actually get a clean sheet tomorrow. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So let's just hope the players are hungry to keep that clean sheet, and they're hungry to get goals as well still. So obviously we'll get into the team soon. So yeah.
If they're hungry, maybe they should get a pizza. Maybe we should go back down that line again.
That was genius. That was genius, man management from Ranieri there. Genius.
It was. Clibbo, I mean, it's 6 months that he's got, which I think is sensible because, you know, I mean, I was speaking to a Stoke fan earlier. I've been speaking to a Stoke fan in the chat that I'm in, Championship chat, and, you know, they're all going, it's boring football, it's negative football. Well, no, not negative as such. You know, it's boring. Take a book along if you go to the match. But what he will do is shore that defence up. And, you know, his next question was, why has the defence struggled? And he said there have been injuries at different times, and that can make things difficult. If you're struggling to build partnerships, where you are in the league creates uncertainty. For me, it's about calming things down and building a platform and letting the players know exactly what is expected of them. There is a lot of energy and pace in forward areas, so you also want to showcase that. But it's all about the organisation that gives the team that confidence to attack. That's the message so far. Give the team clarity. He's, again, starting to say the right things, isn't he?
Well, I mean, just picking up on something you said there, if you look at how many different, I mean, I'd like to know the answer to this, but how many different combinations of back four have we had this season? You don't build, no matter how good your players are, you don't build a unit, which is what a back four is. It's a unit. And that's where everything stems from, particularly playing the system that we've been playing. Obviously, we build from the back. You know, it's got to be positionally. It looks all over the place when we're being countered. Nobody seems to trust there doesn't seem like a trust in the team with each other in that back four. So it'd be nice to get somebody in.
For me, I don't think there's any leadership in there. You know, the only person that I've heard that's been sort of taking control and shouting out was the Cells when he came in. But, you know, again, and don't start me on Ricardo because it's coming down to Ricardo. But as captain and the most senior of the four players at the back, he should be taking control and getting them into position, making sure that they're in the right line and what. We haven't got that. Even Vestergaard did it to a certain degree.
There is an irony attached to that because, let's be honest, quite a lot of the goals when Ricardo's on the pitch are because he's not in position.
Yeah. No, you're right, but I do think we lack that leadership in that back four. Reece, the £1 million question: can this team stay up? And he said, of course, I believe it. It's achievable. It's not easy. Regardless of the size of the club, the Championship can spit you out. But it's about looking up, performing and winning games of football. There's a lot of teams we can reel in and overtake. It's a positive opportunity for the players to show what they're about and build a connection with the fans, which has been missing this season. And he's right. I mean, he's got more games than Dean Smith had. Dean Smith only had 8 games. This guy's got 14. He should have had more because why it took so long to get him in when he's not working, I don't know. But again, look, he's not going to say, no, I think we're going to go down, is he? But, you know, it's not the case of how he's saying things and, the general coach. But when you look at what he's saying, it's all about looking up, performing and winning games of football. There's a lot of teams we can reel in. I like the way that he's saying these things.
Yeah, and if you look at his past records with other championship clubs, he has got a good record of getting a good bouncing period when he goes into a club. I think I've checked something like he won at least 3 clubs. He won 5 out the first 8 games. So he has got that track record, and obviously with much better players than what he's worked with before. I do think he can, do that. And he seems a very clever manager. He knows what his strengths are, and what he's good at. And so let's hope he uses that to his advantage. Just give it a little sprinkle of defensive mindedness in the players, keep that structure, and then with certain ability in certain players, we can go and get those goals. So hopefully it'll be a good combination. So let's just see, and let's just hope he can get the job done.
Clibbo, I didn't realise until I spoke to the Stoke fan earlier, and I'm on a show with a Stoke fan straight after this. But Rowett was there when they got relegated from the Premier League, or he came in. He came in straight after they got relegated. Was it right?
Yeah, he was offered the job while they were Premier League, and he turned it down.
Right. But like the guy said, he might not win you the championship, but what he's going to do, this term is he'll shore that defence up, and all we need him to do is make sure that there's 3 teams below us on the last day of the season.
Yeah, very true.
That's the target this season now, isn't it?
It is, but like you've just said there, he's not going to win us the championship. He's not going to win it as this season. But just to broaden the topic a little bit, I don't see why, if he can keep us up, because let's be honest, the form that you're going to need to keep us up is top 6 form, probably, right? Now, if he can achieve that with this group of players, a talented group of players, and then the following season, add some, get rid of all the dead wood and add some players. You don't need to be Alex Ferguson to win this league. You need an organised team with a few very good players, and so I don't see why he couldn't finish top if we played our cards right. I know that's sounding a little bit sort of getting ahead of myself, but the championship's shit. Excuse my language, but it's shit.
I have to say it is really, isn't it? Look, Clibbo, do you think then that's where we went wrong? Because I would not have been totally against keeping Dean Smith. I know we went down, but at least we got, I think he won at least a third of the games that he played. He changed the things round. And I sometimes think to myself how different things might have been. Although I know Enzo came in, so look, but was there an argument for keeping Dean Smith at the time?
Well, I definitely think so, and I do think he would have kept us up had we not had those 2 pair of brats in charge for those 2 games. Now, would we have got promoted? Would we have come back straight away? I believe that he might have had a good chance.
Yeah.
And what happened was, when Enzo came in, he completely changed the style. So if you look at it, if we'd have gone up again and we'd have had Dean Smith, maybe we would have had a better survival chance with the style of football that we were kind of used to playing already, because that was never sustainable. I don't care what anyone says. It was never sustainable to play like that in the Premier League. You get murdered.
Yep. I agree. Reece, I had a really good question then, and my mind's gone blank. Oh yeah, that was what it was. So if Gary Rowett comes in, we go down, but a bit like under Dean Smith, where we went down, but we went down those last, 8 games that Dean Smith had, at least we were fighting. So if at least we start to show like we've got a pair of balls, and we go down, but we make a fist of it. Does he get offered the job next season in League One?
Well, for me, I would offer it in personally. I think he'd be the best manager in that league by a long way, in my opinion. If he said like, look, let's be honest, lads, it's not going to be his fault if we go down. He's come in. He'd be trying to change it. He wouldn't have had a lot of games. I think the damage would have been done if we got. Let's say we got down. The damage was done in early in the season. It's as simple as that. And I'm not going to blame a guy that will try his best. I know he'll try his best. He seems like a good guy. He's a former player of the club. I would give him the job full time. Either way, if he kept us up, I'd give him the job. If we went down, I'd give him the job, because then I think you've got two solid scenarios where a good solid manager can start to rebuild and get the philosophy, not philosophy, but the culture and the base right in the team. So, yeah, I would 100% give him the job. 100%.
I think you're right. Look, he's the 10th manager in 10 years. It's getting bloody ridiculous, isn't it? And then if we then appoint another manager for next season, whether we stay up or go down, that's 11 managers in 11 years. I mean, we're Watford in blue, aren't we?
Yeah, but like I've said to you before, Chris, this is becoming a lot more of a thing amongst, clubs than it used to be, because people want instant success. It's just the way it is. It's scratch card football.
Doesn't guarantee you success always swapping, though, does it?
Of course it
did for Chelsea, but they were fishing in a bigger pond. He was asked about the PSR appeal. He said, "I've read bits. The club have talked to the players, but it's nothing to do with us. It's out of our hands. It cannot detract from the focus, which is being ready for Saturday and putting out a better version of ourselves. The off-pitch stuff will leave to the experts." And he has to make sure that is happened, because, some players could be looking at that and saying, well, we're down anyway now. He's got to keep the two things separate, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. And I think, that's obviously part of his remit. But I have to question any player, any professional player at that level, second-tier football in England. I have to question them if they would to look at that and go, "Are we down anyway?" I think that's Sunday League mentality. Not even Sunday League mentality, kids mentality.
I get what Clibo's saying, Reese, but I'm thinking more with this one for the youngsters. The experienced ones, you would hope not, but the youngsters, it might just get to them. Because let's be honest with you, like you said, they're new to the team. They've never had a relegation fight before, but they've never had any fight at all.
I would disagree with you on the youngsters, only because they're playing for a career in the game. They'll want to prove, and if that's on their CV, like if you're a manager and you're looking at let's say Louis Page, you're looking at a player and he was a pivotal part of keeping that team up, scoring goals, making things happen. They'll look at that and go, "Wow, what a mentality this young lad has got." So if you've got that on your CV, clubs are going to snap you up like that. So I would disagree with the youngsters. The experienced ones, I think, would crumble because, well, I'm at the end of my career. Who gives a shit? I'm getting paid. So I think it's the other way around, personally.
No, I'm not saying it is. They were just asking.
Yeah.
Could it affect them because of that? Clibo, any players back from injuries? I don't think there are any previous players returning. We are light in some areas. We've got to get a bit of fortune with injuries for the next week or two. We're as we are. What is it with injuries and Leicester City? And I know other clubs will argue that they've got injuries. Stoke, the guy from Stoke was saying earlier he's had 15 players out or whatever. But since we've moved to Seagrave, we've had a hell of a lot more injuries. Or was it getting rid of Dave Rennie?
I think at this stage, I don't think so. I think the game has changed in such a way, and it seems to be becoming more so every year, where players' movement is being pushed to its limits. And I think injuries tend to happen when players are out of their normal positions. They're being asked to move. Like if you're a left back playing right back, it's very different. It's not the same thing. You know, the way you twist your body, you know, all these little factors. When you're super fit, if you're like, let's say us playing Sunday League, and you get a knock, you're like, oh, flipping out, and it hurts, and you're obviously doing damage by playing them. These guys, if they move slightly wrong, because of this elite athletes, they tend to ping things and get injured quicker. I believe that. I totally believe that.
That's a fair point. He was asked what he remembers about his time at the club, Reece. I signed here under. Oh, I'm really sorry. Bear with me. I'm having trouble. I always have trouble saying this name.
That's that
Yeah, he's the SC, isn't he? But no, all joking aside, I signed here under Peter Taylor, but on the back of the O'Neill era, I joined for the UEFA Cup and played against Red Star Belgrade, which was obviously our one game in the UEFA Cup. After 10 games at the top of the league, Peter brought in some players that didn't work out. The first season I played every game, I think, and really enjoyed it. I played with some very good players. I'm sure I remind Matty and Tags that they used to blame me for the goals. It's a new ground, but the same spirit. I mean, oh God. I mean, look, it is a different club from when he was here. Totally, obviously, the game is kind of different from when he was here. But it is. Is it a good thing to sign an ex-player as a manager?
Well, I mean, it's worked for certain people at certain clubs. I mean, obviously there are a lot more bigger clubs that the likes of Luis Enrique at Barcelona and all of that, Pep Guardiola. But no, I don't see anything wrong with it in particular because the thing that I liked about that, because I did listen to the press conference, is that even in the situation we're in, he's having a laugh with the media. Like the media on side, And it's nice to see that because we've not had a manager like that in previous years that are willing to laugh with the press and have a joke with them basically. So no, I mean the club has changed. The standards have been raised. We've grown as a club. We've become a bigger club. Hey Chris, bigger club.
I'm not arguing. That was there.
Yeah. But yeah, we have become a bigger club since his time. And from what I was saying, he weren't the best footballer, but he always gave 100%. And he's probably had a better managerial career than he has as a player. So but look, ex-player or not ex-player, let's just hope he gets the job done. He's paid to do a job. And I believe he'll do the best to his ability.
This was the longest search we've had for a manager under King Power. And he was asked if he could explain the 3-week timeline. And he said, club takes whatever time they think they need to make the right appointment. You don't just talk to one manager, even if there's haste on the outside to get someone in. But for me, the time frame is not for me to worry about. I'm here now. I believe I can help the team. To have Callum with me will help. It's been a positive first couple of days training. It's been nice to get in and get working. My wife was desperate for me to get a job. I had to take her advice. As Lisa just said then, you need that bit of humour. But I love the way that all these questions that could be troublesome, he's just closing them down, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's a wily old fox, isn't he? He's been around. He's been around the media a long time. He knows how to deflect. Like I say, part of the manager's job is to protect the players, and any kind of negative. Because reporters ask searching questions, often stupid questions and ill-timed questions, and it's his job to bat them off. and I think he passed the first test with flying colours, if I'm honest.
And this is, look, please, everybody that's listening, don't take this the wrong way, but English is his first language. So there's none of this misunderstanding what he says or anything, is there? And look, I've nothing against foreign managers. Obviously, we've had a few here. But, you know what he's saying. He's not having to think about it. We even had that a little bit with Ranieri, didn't we? So it's nice to have that. And please don't take that as me being racist or anything like that. But it's nice to sort of hear that. I mean, Reece, the other guy that seemed to be getting the mention was this guy from Aberdeen. Now, I'd never heard of him. I can't even remember his name. Surely he couldn't have been a serious contender, could he?
Well, when I heard his name mentioned, I thought, let's have a look at this geezer. And he has got quite a good CV from what I've been reading. Yes, he is foreign. He done a good job at Aberdeen, from what I read. Very high intensity football. That's probably what the club are looking for in the long term. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the club have got a plan. But I have heard there was a couple of managers we approached. Just don't shoot the messenger. There was a couple of managers we approached that would have taken the job in the summer. So we might be going back there once Gary Rowett seed out his contract. I don't know. So, but I think that's maybe what the club are looking at. Right, well, we'll appoint this man, and then we'll go back in for these managers if they haven't got a club, depending what league we're in. So maybe that's what the club are thinking. But that Aberdeen manager, I can't remember his name, but he has got a good CV. So I'm not against it. But let's get behind this man. Let's get behind this man because he deserves the fan support.
Clibbo, last question. Advantage had been the most experienced manager in the relegation battle. He said it's not an advantage. That would be me talking myself up. It's an advantage in terms of making level-headed decisions, but I'm not always going to make the right decisions. We've seen new managers come into this division like Hellberg and have a brilliant effect. We have a lot of players that can perform to a more consistent level. Well, he's not wrong on that one, is he?
No.
I mean, looking back, I think Oxford are going to regret sacking him.
Well, I was thinking that, myself, because they just seem a little bit, all of a sudden, I mean, apart from against us, they seem a little bit toothless, don't they? And a bit prone to defensive errors. So yeah, maybe you're right, but I was thinking that myself because, I mean, what we know about Gary Rowett is in a relegation dogfight, he'll tighten your defence up, and they're letting goals in. So maybe.
And what an incentive for him, Clibbo. If he can keep us up, and they're only 4 points behind us, in fairness, but if he can keep us up, and that means that Oxford United go down, that'd be a bit of a to Oxford, wouldn't it?
It would. I mean, my thought process over the last few days, and this is not something I've deliberately thought about, it's just how I'm feeling, is that since he came in and I've listened to the interview, I've not gone Gary Rowett. I've not done any of that. But I am thinking to myself now, how's he going to get us to stay up as opposed to, I wonder if he'll be able to keep us up. So my attitude towards it has shifted slightly. So, yeah, I hope he does keep us up and does that to Oxford.
Just quickly, Uncle Clibbo. Would you give him the job full time if he keeps us up?
I would, yeah. Yeah, I would, because we need a period of stability. I don't think, because the worry is that he keeps us up and then top goes, right, now I can get a footballing playing manager in. And we end up in the same bloody situation.
I'll give you one example of why he should. When we got knocked out in the semi-final of the playoffs against Watford, that would have been very easy to have sacked Nigel Pearson then and said, right, let's start afresh. They didn't. They stuck with him, and look what he did for us the next season. One of our best seasons ever, stat-wise. But I must admit, talking of stats in a way, Reece, I must admit, maybe this is the way that the club's made me begin to sort of think about them. But I hadn't realised that last time out that this had happened. We'd actually beaten a club. I mean, pinch me. I mean, I'm at the point of where pinching myself is becoming self-harm. I mean, what do you remember about that game? I mean, we were 2-0 up. We conceded one. I mean, this was back in November. Let's be honest with you, these days, if we were 2-0 up and we conceded one, we'd have gone on and conceded more.
Yeah, I was at the game, and what I remember is they absolutely battered us for 90 minutes. We had 2 chances and we had 2 goals. 2 fantastic finishes, by the way, from Steffi and Daka. But I thought we were very, very lucky that night. They had multiple chances to score goals. But unfortunately, fortunately, we got away with it. But there's been times where we haven't got away with it. So, and they were in better form when we played them. I think they were 3rd in the league or something. They were in the top 6, and they were playing some good stuff. But they've dipped off quite a bit now. So let's hope we can take advantage of that and have a bit of a manager bounce tomorrow. So yeah.
I mean, Clipbo, I don't know if you were there or not, but they had most possession. They had 11 shots to our 6, 5 on target to our 2. But our 2 were goals. They had twice as many touches in our box as we had in theirs. Like they said. But we did have a kind of resilience then. I mean, I'm just looking at. I'm going to look at the lineups here, and believe it or not, Bekovic in goal. And the back 4 was Pierre, Faze, Vestergaard and Thomas, with Winks and Skip, the 2 in front of them. But I have to say, my immediate thought in looking at this one was that James was in the team, although it was in the number 10 role, which I don't think is his best position. I mean, can one player make that much difference?
I think in an attacking sense, yes. Yeah. I think... I mean, we know his position isn't the best as a 10, but we know that technically he's probably one of the better players in the team who's got an engine on him and can play multiple positions on the pitch. But he's got that quality, and doesn't matter whereabouts on the pitch you are, he's got the quality to unlock, and he can finish. So yeah, I do think so. More so in this division, because the overall standard isn't very good. The best teams, the teams that get promoted and end up in the playoffs, have got 1 or 2 very good players, and they are usually, statistically, the ones that make the difference. So yes, I do believe that.
Georgie, this was one of the last games that I went to before my 5-game boycott. Hey, power to the people. Power to the people.
Wolfie Smith.
Yes. What was it? Citizen, that was it.
Citizen Smith. Yeah,
Citizen
loved
Smith.
it.
Yeah. Oh God. Lindsay was called. What was his first name? Robert Lindsay.
Robert Lindsay.
Yeah, that's the one. Right. Reece, you weren't here last week, but this is something we do, which is compare the 2 teams over the season. So we've got Stoke versus Leicester. We've had, although it's been tight, whoever's in green is the better of the 2 people at that particular thing. So just going down there, and then just give me your overall thoughts, and then we'll do the same with Clibbo. We've had more shots, although it's pretty close. It's only sort of 9 shots more. Shot accuracy, 49% to 45%. They've had more shots on target. Again, it's only 6 difference. So chances created, 236 to them, 251 to us. Passes completed, 10,648. We've managed 113,000 11,312. Although, of course, 11,000 of those were between FaZe and Vestergaard. Crossing accuracy, 18% to them, 24 to us. They've recovered the ball more, and we've lost possession more. It looks a lot better than the one we looked at last week, Clibbo. But Reese, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, all that tells me is they are more efficient in front of goal and they work harder than us. That's all I'm taking away from those stats there. I mean, it's very, very, very alarming. Again, possession lost. They're more carefree with the ball. They're more careful with the ball than what we are. And from the shooting point of view, well, when you've got fucking Abdul Fattah shooting from 70 yards out, you are going to have that shot accuracy quite low. So, yeah, that's what I take of it. That's what I take away. They're more efficient in front of goal and they work harder than us. So hopefully under Gary, Mr. Rowett, we can get those stats up a little bit because they are very alarming stats, in my opinion.
Before I come to you, Clibbo, Ben's just said, is that FaZe behind you, Chris, top corner of your room? And I think you mean the gentleman just there. And yes, it is. The joke was that I had a FaZe wig and we got rid of FaZe and I just couldn't let him out my life. I had to keep something about FaZe around me just to remind me of the bad times. But yes, that is about FaZe.
I'm just going to pretend it's Ryan May.
Well, I'll give you that one. Yes, you're probably one, and for me, the best guitar player ever. I mean, you can argue about one or two others, but he's certainly up there. And Andrea says we are showing our age. So Clibbo, again, what do you? We're going to come on to the teams in a minute, but what do you take from that?
Well, I'm somebody that doesn't, after a result, I think it's very easy to look at stats. But if you look at the last stat before this slide, it was Leicester 2, Stoke 1. So that's the important stat. But Reece is absolutely right. None of those stats will mean anything if we win. If most of them are in the red, it won't mean anything if we get 3 points. But it is important to be able to get wins. You have to work hard and you have to be a lot more efficient with your passing. And clearly that is saying we're not.
No, and in fairness, there's a lot more stats I can add on, but the list just goes on forever. Right, you two have a bit of homework, don't you, every time for this show? And that's coming up with your teams. And I've got 2 different teams from you this week because I kind of let you go with it's a new manager. Let's go with whatever formation you think for this one. Which is worrying because Clibbo, you stuck with 4-2-3-1. I mean, you plonker. What are you doing sticking with that formation?
Well, okay, I'm going to explain it.
He's an SC, isn't he? Really, he really is.
Now, what I'm going to say is, I've seen Reece's team, and I've seen his formation, and I tend to think going forward, and I've made some notes about that his system, which I won't go into now. I won't spoil it.
Yeah.
So going forward, I think his system I would prefer. In this game, I think if you're trying to solidify the defence, work with the defence as a 4, and you're trying to score goals, I don't think trying to change everything in week 1 is probably the best preparation. That's the only reason I've gone for this. And I think he will go for this system. It's a system he's played many times as well.
Yeah, the advantage with him, of course, is that he does change his system. So, he's not rigid. So if it doesn't work out, then he'll change. Look, I mean, look, there's not giving anything away. The back four's the same for both of you. Coley is the one I want to ask. Well, there's a couple I want to ask about that. Aluko, I see that. I get that. Coley, is it a case of who else?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I am banking on the fact that Rowett will come in, having a very defensive coach might help him. Might give him a bit more of a less to do because we know Luko. Akoli. We know when he's got the ball, he's a car crash. He can't pass. So if he's just given a specific role to, which is ironic, really, he's Italian. You used to watch the old Italian defenders. They were quite calm, collected, and pass. I mean, this is where all this came from, really. I think this modern style, so to speak. But I just think if we haven't got anybody else, we've got no more experience. We've got Kevin Gray.
You say that, and this was the surprise, and the same question will come to you and when we come to your team. But we've got Lascelles, who's a captain. I mean, that's a very young. Is he?
He's injured.
Yeah,
he's injured. That's why we picked Akoli, because who else is there to pick? Yannick Vestergaard's injured.
I know Yannick Vestergaard is injured. Yeah. No, I thought Lascelles was. I thought he was due back. To be honest with you.
No, he's out for a couple of weeks.
Out for a couple of weeks, King.
Of course he is. Why else would we sign him?
Exactly. That's three of our best loan players. Well, probably three of the best players in the team, loan players, and they're injured.
I know. We don't bother buying anybody. When they get the medical and he goes, "Oh, he's passed," oh, no, don't sign him. Then don't sign him. Oh, he's here for his medical, but he has got a broken leg. Sign him up. It'll do for us. And look, you've no Thomas in there, which I guess is no surprise.
Well, I think depending on I think it's going to depend on the systems he plays. I think in terms of having a pure left back, a pure defensive left back that's not required to be a progressive up the pitch. I do think, although in this system you do need to be overlapping, but we know that him and Mavididi don't have a great relationship where that's concerned, in my eyes. But I just think he's probably, as a left back, he's probably a better proper left back than Thomas. Not by much, though.
No.
Not by much.
And of course, I didn't, and I apologise, I didn't come to mention that Stolarczyk was back in for the FA Cup game, come back to the league, and you brought Bekovic back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that you'll get from Begovic is that he will have been studying what, obviously being at the back of the defence, he would have been studying what Rowett's saying. And he's a big guy. He's got the confidence to pass on them instructions from behind the defence and command his defence. I think Stolarczyk at the minute is very underconfident. He's had it battered out of him. I think it'd be dangerous to be putting him in this position. He needs to be protected at this point in order for him as not to ruin his career. So I would definitely, I think 99% of Leicester fans would probably put him in at this point.
I think we know where the other 1% is. Aribo finally gets to play. I have to say, I don't think I've seen. Has he played? He came on, I think, did he or did he not? I can't remember.
He started against Birmingham.
Yeah, right. I mean, you got him and Skip together there. Skip goes. I mean, look, he's at the moment. He's probably the first name on the team sheet, isn't he? But you put Aribo in there, Clibo.
Yeah, I think he's a unit. I think he's obviously he's had a couple of games rest. That's probably fired him up. And he looked like all right, we didn't see the best of him because he's not played a lot this season. But I think in the last game he played, I think he's shown enough for me that he wants He wants to play, and he's a unit. So yes, strongly.
The thing I wonder is, it was that guy we signed from Wolves a few years ago. It was the only signing we made one window.
Ryan Bennett.
Bennett, that's it. Yes, he's probably his brother Gordon was better, but it's an old joke. But there we go. And I always wonder if we buy in somebody from a team that's in the same league as us. I mean, if they can't use him, what's it saying about us?
Well, I think that that is one way of looking at it, but the other way of looking at it is, it's like you can go on plenty of dates, find somebody beautiful, but they're a pain in the arse after 10 minutes, and it just doesn't work. So this might be the right date for him.
Okay, I mean, I love the analogy. I haven't got any comeback to that. Oh, that's probably because I've been on the wrong date. Boom, boom. Next 3 behind. I was almost tempted to put Ayew in there and say that you'd picked Ayew, but I thought that'd be too cruel. Don't you laugh? Yours is
I'm the one that's trying not to swear, but if you'd have pulled that one, I probably would swore.
But you thought up front, he's been my man of the match for 2 games. I think I can't wait to see him and James in the same team. I mean, when you come to think, with the ones that, and then Ramsey's, to come back, there's a lot of decent players who've got coming back, but I like this guy, Clibbo.
I do. I think if you're going to put James in the side along with him and Ariba, I think you're going to have to change. I think you're going to have to change the system.
Well, I wouldn't argue. I'm not particularly a fan of 4-2-3-1.
Nor am I.
Fatawu, but I understand why you've gone for it in this case. Fatawu and Mamadidi, lot to prove to the new manager.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I think if we're going to play counter-attacking football and use pace, they're kind of got to be in the side, haven't they? If it's not working, and we need to find out quickly if it's not working, then you bring them out the side. You bring them out. If they're not doing the job, I don't care what name is on the back and what their reputations are. If they're not doing it, we have other players that can come in that might not be as talented, but they'll work harder.
Yeah. Is Golding alive? Asked Prashant. Who knows? But
That's
those
the
again,
strangest signing ever.
For those, I think that was all to do with PSR shit, wasn't it? But for those of you that are like me and Clibbo are very, very old, I remember the Sun newspaper. They used to have one of their reporters or one of the staff members walking around holiday resorts in the summer, and I used to live in Blackpool, and he'd have a sun hat on or something with the sun on, and if you went up to him and tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Ha ha, you're the man from the Sun," you got a £5. I think that's what Golding does. If anybody sees him out and recognises and goes, "Hey, you're Michael Golding," you have to give a £5 over. Is Gary Rowett the man who can finally get Daka scoring goals?
Look, against Southampton, and I've said this on this channel, page 3, you mean? I've said this on this channel before. If we've got a system where we're in tune with what Daka, because we've been looking at Daka going, oh, he runs a lot, and on the face of it, it looks like he's running like a headless chicken. It has, and I've been fooled by it. But actually, what he's probably trying to do is he's probably thinking, well, if I'm there, somebody will pass to me, and it's not been happening. So I do believe if you give him the right service, I think Daka will score. Yeah. I do.
There's a lot to be said into that. Well, I'm going to go from a formation that I I'm not keen on. And then look, I understand why you've gone for it, Clibbo. You went for this formation, did you? And this is very interesting, and I like it, Reese. Not a lot, but I like it. But I mean, it's almost a 4-4-2, but you've gone for a 4-4-1-1. I am liking the look of this. You've brought Jakob back.
I have, yes, purely because I'd like to think, and this is just my theory, I'd like to think Rowett's put his arm around him, get him, been a little bit of, not a shoulder to cry on, but to be like, look, you are a top keeper. I believe in you. So I believe in you, sort of thing. I just think we need to get him back in the team and just get, give him a base where he can be confident in his defense, and and the defense can be confident in him as well. And I think we need to start building that relationship up now rather than wait until whenever. But Uncle Clibbo disagree with that, and that's absolutely fine. But that's my
I kind of disagree as well in a way, and hear me out here. I'm not saying it's sort of opinions, isn't it? But I'm just wondering whether we are in the position where we can give him that time. If he takes 2 or 3 games to get to that, that's 2 or 3 games less that where we're conceding goals. And I just think, for me, Bekovic is more is the guy I would like to stick behind, see behind the defence, to be honest with you. Because
I also think if he does end up flapping and it leads to a goal, that's going to have a real detrimental effect in that first game.
Yeah, we don't want to see too many flaps.
That's fair enough, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say we are going to get a clean sheet tomorrow. And I think if he's in goal for that, that'll give him a big boost. And even if we win 1-0, if we win 1-0, but he gets that clean sheet, he'll be like, "Oh, thank God for that. Let's fucking kick on now." So that's my theory behind it. So that's my
I understand that.
I agree.
And the last thing we need to see, like I say, is too many flaps in a game, is there?
Yeah.
Anyway, the back four, the back four is pretty much what Clibbo picked. Clibbo's just fallen in, so we've not a lot to talk about there, because, like I say, the only other one that could possibly go in there is Thomas, and I don't think anybody's putting Thomas in there. And you're 4 in the midfield. Now, you got Skip and Aribo in there as well, but you got Fatawu and Mavididi. But again, you've gone for 4 in midfield.
Yes, I understand why Uncle Clibbo thinks he will stick with the 4-2-3-1, but I'm gonna just counter that a little bit. I don't disagree with what Uncle Clibbo's saying at all, not in a million years, but I think we need change now. Right here, right now, we need to change something. I think we need to keep it simple and say, right, 2 banks of 4, you're staying compact. Abdul, Mavididi, as soon as we get the balls, get the fuck down the fucking wing and get the ball in the box, sort of thing. Let's keep it simple. Let's build a solid defensive base and, work through the game like that. So that's why I've gone for 4 in midfield. The 2 centre midfielders, 2 very, not fast, but, they've got good engines on them. They're both big units. They both like to tackle. One's good on the ball. One's, not the best on the ball in Oliver Skip, but Aribo is okay on the ball. And I think he can provide those passes for the 2 wingers and for the front pairing, who I'm just going to get onto.
Ronald McDonald has made a very good point there. 2 banks of 4 is difficult to break down and can start up counter-attacks. So it is a lot harder to
That's
break
why
down.
I've gone for it.
Yeah.
That's why
you've gone 1-1 up front, which will be a 2 a lot of the time. And I love this because, and I think, Clibbo, you've said it as well, I don't think you'd be crying, if this was the,
I'd rather it be that. Going forward.
I mean, we've said, what the hell is Monga doing on the wings? Monga is... Look, we love Monga and we wish him all the best and what have you, but he's just not... I'm not even noticing when he's on the pitch anymore. You know, when before when Monga's coming on, yeah, come on, Monga, he gets you. No, okay, Monga's coming on, that's fine. In this role, I think he would cause, and is this the reason you put him in? Because I think he'll cause absolute havoc in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just going back to your point on why is Monga on the again, we've had managers that are just not using him right at all. We've not been developing him properly. We've been playing him in the position on the left, which I said from the start of the season, he's never been a left-sided player. So why the fuck is he out there, sort of thing? He needs to be either on the right, but that's obviously Abdul's position, and he's not going to drop Abdul. Get him in that number 10 role. Give him the ball. Because we've seen it in the Premier League, for goodness sake. He absolutely skinned Nottingham Forest players, Ipswich players, and he was doing it to Newcastle players at one point when he was coming on at 15 years of age. Get him on the ball and he will make stuff happen. But I do believe that, the fans need to stop this. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah, Monga. Oh, yeah, let's see what Monga's going to do. He's a 16-year-old lad. Let him play his football. Let him do what he wants, not what he wants to do, but let him do what he does best, which is float around, make stuff happen, bit of trickery, and we can get him behind. So that's why I've gone for Jezza just behind Daka.
I think that will bring the more. I'm not say the best out of him, but will certainly bring more out of Daka as well.
Yes, because he's got that killer pass in him as well. He's just got that natural ability to skin a couple of players and bang, play that pass in straight away. He's a clever lad for a 16-year-old kid. So just get him in the team, and I think it will help Daka a lot.
Yeah, indeed. Now, before we go on to sort of predictions and the like, I think it was a very good question. I'm not sure if it was you or me, Clibber, but I have a feeling it was you that came up with it, although I did claim it.
It was me. I heard the conversation in the afternoon.
No, I think I did give you credit in the end, though, through gritted teeth. But yeah, the question is, if he goes for your lineup, your formation, but not the lineup. So we see Ricardo starting, we see Thomas on the left, we see Ayew up front. What would that make you think? Can you ask? We discussed this, but again, I'll ask you again. But what? And I'll ask you again in the same in the secondaries. What Clibbo would your thoughts be pre-game, and then if we lose at the end?
Well, pre-game, I've said. I think I was listening. Was it Jim who was saying it? That he thought if they do start, then they're obviously he's the third manager, or so to say. They must be the best players in that team. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think it's clear that they're shit. For want of a better word, they are shit. And if you're telling me that there isn't players at the club that technically might not be as good, but are going to put the graft in, then no, I'm sorry. There are players that will work harder than these players, and that are more progressive.
Get what you said, but he's had 2.5 days. In fairness, he'll probably be leaning on Andy King a little bit to sort of say, "Come on, Andy, fill me in on the players." And is it a free? I mean, all right. Let me come to you, Reese.
No, it's not.
You knew what I was going to ask then.
Yeah, it can't be a free hit.
I don't mean a free hit in the result doesn't matter or anything like that. But is it all right? Let me stick with you then, Tibbo. Then is it a free hit in the like of choosing the players, because he can then see again? Because let's be honest with you, if he asks Andy King's picked Ricardo, Thomas, and Ayew. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the team tomorrow, because Andy King may well be recommending them. But after, let's say he does pick them, and let's say we don't do very well, he would then, to my mind, that's it now. You can see how bad they are, and if you're not then making changes for his second game in charge, which is Middlesbrough on Tuesday, then I would be very, very. I would have started to lose faith in him already.
Well, I would lose faith in him if he comes in and says to Andy King, "Oh, what do you think? What do you think?" That's not the kind of manager we want right now. We want a manager to come in, set the training up, get all the players that are in the squad playing in their natural positions. Right, what position? Right, I'm right back. I'm a right back. Right, let's have two teams. Right, let's see how my systems work with you playing it. Nothing to do with how this could be. Listen, if we take it into consideration how we've been playing previously, that's going to cloud judgment. This is day one. Let's see what you can do with my system. Which players are going to work best in my training sessions? That's the kind of manager I want. If you're asking Andy King, what do you think about IU? What do you think? If you're asking him that, you need to leave the club because you're not the bloke. That's a no for me. Big no.
Spot on.
Do you not though? And I'm going on my history of when I went into a new job as a manager. I would then ask the assistant manager on my department. I'd have a meeting and say, right, tell me about the team. What's his strengths? What's his weaknesses? I'd make my own mind up as well, of course, but I couldn't go in and within a week decide that somebody's bad. They may just be having a bad week. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I say go on everything he said or she said, whoever my assistant manager was, but I would certainly ask them for their opinions. I think for me that would just be a natural progression.
Completely different, and for two reasons. One, you probably didn't go into a company where the consequences of you not working out means the club go bankrupt. And two, you haven't been privy via social media, TV companies to what the team has already done. You haven't been able to go, so you've got to ask because you've got to go in there and make an impact. He's had all the TV footage and he's in a position where he has to get this right, doing what he believes with the players that he believes can fit his system, or this club could go down and go bankrupt.
I would take that. That I have been into one particular job, my first ever manager's job, where they actually, despite my best attempts, they shut the branch down. So yeah, I have gone into that sort of situation, but I do take what you're saying. Reece, the same question to you then. If he starts tomorrow with those three players, and let's be honest with you, they're the three players that we are moaning about the most, Ricardo, Thomas, Ayew. If you see any of those in the starting lineup tomorrow, what will your thoughts be?
Who the fuck are their agents and how the fuck have they managed to get a contract where they can play a certain amount of games? That'll be completely my thinking, because if you're telling me an experienced manager like him in this league, and let's be honest, he will have watched clips of us when he was Oxford manager, when he was Millwall or whatever manager. He'd have been like, right, let's fucking attack those fullbacks because they're shit. You know, he's not a dumb manager at all. He knows exactly what he's thinking. So I think for me, if he comes in and picks them three, that will tell you everything you need to know about what's going on. They've got clauses in their contracts and they have to play. That's as simple as that. End of discussion. If you're not picking a 19-year-old, athletic, quick, strong, hungry right back over a finished, washed up, injury-prone, overpaid player in Ricardo Pereira, then it all goes to the top of the club for me. Simple.
Rowett, Ben says here, though, Rowett loves the long throw in mind. Luke Thomas, long throw. Yeah, let's see. Like I say, we're all guessing, aren't we? Because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But it'll be very interesting at quarter to two tomorrow to see if there's a big cloud over Leicester as all the fans start to go mad. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Right, guys, we'll round it up now. So let's go for this. You did give me yours the other day, Clibbo, but just have you changed your mind, or are you still sticking with it?
No, I think 1-1, and I think a point would be something positive to build on.
Reese, what do you think?
If he picks the team that I've picked, or if he changes like Monga for Macassar or something like that, I think we'll win 2-0.
Oof, right. Okay.
I do, I do. I just think he's that sort of manager that will get an impact. Right, fucking get stuck in, win your duels, win your second balls, win the tackles, and our pace and our power will overpower them. I think we'll win 2-0 if he picks that team.
Do you know what? I think my 3-2 to Stoke. Look, I'm hoping for the new manager bounce. I think it's interesting that it's one of his former clubs, and he wants to knock Oxford down. But also, because of the way that Stoke are playing at the moment, they're not in the best of form. I think we could probably snatch this. I haven't got my predictions right all season, so don't read anything into this. But I'm going to go now. A 1-0 win to Leicester.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be high scoring. I don't think it'll be a high scoring game.
No, and that's the thing, I just hope if we do go 1-0 up reasonably early that he doesn't try and hold on to that, because we know that ain't going to work.
No, if it's a 0-0, and we've showed, by being 0-0, we've shown that we can keep a clean sheet. I think that is going to give an enormous amount of confidence to the defence, particularly.
Yeah.
So I won't accept a loss. I'll be fuming. If we lose, I'll be absolutely fuming.
There's the warning, Gary. Make sure you don't lose. Or if we lose, I'll send the Clibbo round. Yeah. There's nothing more scary than that turning up on your doorstep and knocking your door. I'll tell you. Look, it's a new era. I feel like we say this sort of at least once or twice a year. It's a new era. Whatever happens, I want to see the crowd give him a chance. And they are going to sort of possibly things go wrong, boo. But by booing the players on this game, I mean, it'd be interesting more obviously for the Tuesday night game because we're at home for that. But get behind. And I'm going to ask you very quickly. This is the last question now. Protests, and we touched on it, didn't we, Clibbo? So let me come to you, Reese. There's talk about protests going ahead, these marches, etc. I thought is that it should be. I know, of course, as Clibbo said quite rightly, everybody's got the right to protest. We live in a free country. I were away Tuesday. Sorry, I've remembered that wrong. I would like to see the protest put on hold.
I understand your reasoning. I understand. I spoke to Uncle Clubber about it, so I completely understand where you're coming from. But for me, this is a lot bigger than just than what's going. Let's protest against playing Ricky and I tell you what, I think you'd be the leader of that, Uncle Clibbo, protest against Ricky. Are you playing?
Ricardo out.
I get where you guys are coming from. I really, really do. But this is my stance on it. If the protest is still going ahead, I will be going. It's as simple as that. I will be going because I want change and I want what's best for my club. But as soon as that whistle kicks off, I am behind the manager and I'm behind the players. It's as simple as that. Pre and post match, like nothing will change. I'll still give my thoughts on that. But during the 90 minutes, those players and that manager will have my full support. That is my stance on it. That's the way I see it. Just because a manager coming in, yes, he deserves the backing, but that's where the 90 minutes come in. That's where I will give them lads the backing. But after that and before that, I will protest and give my reasoning for wanting these clowns out of the club. So that's my stance on it. I understand where you come from. I really do understand where you like to come from.
Yeah, I do, and I respect your right to do that. Clibbo?
Like Reece said, I understand where he's coming from, and prior to us getting a new manager that I think will potentially have a positive effect, I think it's all about timing, and I definitely think there should be a protest, and I'll be there, or willing, but I think there's an optimal time for something to happen to have the maximum impact, and I don't think this is the time. I think if you said last home game of the season, I think that would have an optimal effect. That's just my opinion. Of course, I'm right, but that's just my opinion.
You know what? Your modesty is the thing I love about you, Clibbo. There's not many things, but your modesty is one of them. That's it, guys. Thank you very much. Look, the last 5 home games for Stoke, they haven't won any. They've lost 3 and drawn 2. Our last 5 away games, we've drawn 1 and lost 4. 41% win probability with AI for Stoke to win, 31 for Leicester. I can see this being a 0-0, what I used to call the last on match of the day game. So, but guys, appreciate you coming on. Fingers crossed, that's all I can say. And come on, you foxes. Thank you to everybody that's been in the chat as well. Really do appreciate it. And if you've been listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. Have a good night. Get an early night. We're up. It's a 12:30 start, which apparently Stoke don't like that either. But then again, it's not our favourite time, is it?
Oh.
So it begins again. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.